back to the channel. My name is Ari, and as hard as it is for me to believe, it's actually time for my 4-month HRT update. Overlook the noise. I didn't realize how noisy these bangles were. So before we get into it, there is one little disclaimer, and overlook because I do have notes because I was trying to think of everything that had changed. So if you see me glancing down, it's because of this, because I keep notes here. One little disclaimer that I kind of want to put in here is, I am aware that there are a lot of people in the trans community, a lot of trans women, who feel it necessary to self-medicate for a number of reasons. It may be because of finances, the availability of health care, whatever the situation is. So please do not take anything I'm saying as any type of suggestion on, dosage, things of that nature. What I'm just doing is talking about my experience. I will never give an exact dosage on the channel. And I do have to warn, hormones, there's a reason that they do regular blood tests. And that's because there is significant danger if it's not monitored. It can be very safe if monitored properly, but if it's not, it can actually be rather dangerous. So, of course, I don't want to encourage any of that. All of you have to make your own decisions. But at the end of the day, safety should be number one. So tomorrow actually will officially be my 4-month anniversary on hormone replacement therapy. So let's see here. Okay, so the big thing I would say is after 4 months, I've seen some changes, but really and truly, don't expect overnight changes. Don't expect some massive, change to take place. It is a very slow process, and I've learned that the hard way. A lot of things that I've hoped and expected haven't happened yet, and yet I've had progress in other areas, so I've been really happy with it. So the last time I talked about the start of breast development, and while I'm still, as I like to say, a founding member of the Itty Bitty Titty Committee, I'm definitely seeing some progress being made. In the last video, when it started, there was basically a small knot behind the nipple area. God, I hate having to use that word in videos, but there's no other word. So a small knot behind the nipple area, that's probably grown over the past month to about the circumference of, if you can remember what a silver dollar looked like, that knot is getting larger and larger. I'm talking about the spot underneath, the tissue developing underneath. I'm not talking about like nipple circumference. I do not have silver dollar nipples, just to clarify. But that area of tissue is growing slowly underneath. So, in a day-to-day outfit, most dress shirts, it's really not that noticeable at this point. Now, if I'm wearing something that's a bit more snug, then yeah, you're going to see it. But in all honesty, I don't often wear things that are all that snug fitting, so it kind of doesn't come up. So one thing that I have learned, though, is that even when you don't have a whole lot going on, there's a reason why wearing a sports bra or something can become important. Because when you start the development, it seems like you're walking around, let's just say it's like it's 20 degrees outside, no matter what the temperature is. If you rub up against someone, you'd slice them in half. Things can get a little difficult to cover if you're not wearing something that sort of hides that. So I've definitely learned that. So I don't go out in public without at least a sports bra and something to keep that in check. So speaking of breast development, let's talk about the pain factor. In the 3rd month, I did start experiencing a lot of tenderness, and at first it hurt quite a bit. Now either I've gotten used to it or it's calmed down quite a bit. It's more so, I actually forget about it until I'll lean up against something or you know, I'll notice dust or something on my shirt and go to dust it off at work, and, you know, do a smack. And let's just say it has a really good way of reminding you about what's going on. Probably the most interesting was I leaned up against a file cabinet at work, and it felt like there was a rock or something between the file cabinet and my chest. It wasn't like painful. It was uncomfortable and sort of odd. And then I remembered, you know, what was going on. I've also seen a little bit more fatty tissue developing underneath the breast. If I repeat myself, I'm sorry, because I've done this video a couple of times and I had a screw up in there. But that little bit of tissue may not be all that noticeable, the little bit of development I've had for most people. But you've got to keep in mind that I was flat-chested even for a boy. I mean, it was straight and narrow. There was nothing going on. So another one that may or may not be all in my head is it seems like that the speed that body hair grows back has sort of decreased a bit. And I'm not sure if that's just, you know, here or if it's really what's going on. You know, granted, I don't have a lot to go on because body hair has never been something I had much of anyway. You know, I've never in my life had a chest hair, which I'm very thankful for. So that's really not one that I have a whole lot of experience with, but it does seem like it's slowed quite a bit. Okay, guys, so now let's talk about one of the embarrassing subjects. And I'm not very good at talking about it because it is personal, but I feel like you guys need the full story to know, you know, what could or could not happen. And it doesn't mean that everyone will experience it, but in month 3, I started experiencing a new pain. And the best way I can describe it is it was like someone gave you the aftermath of someone giving you a swift kick between the legs. It wasn't that initial shock pain, but it was the extreme tenderness. And it lasted for about 2 weeks. And I was concerned at first. I did a little bit of research on some of the message boards, and then came to find out that a lot of trans girls had experienced it, and that actually it was most likely just the result of what's called atrophy, which is basically that the boys are closing up shop. So obviously, if you do experience that long term, you should definitely see your doctor. I haven't experienced that in a long time now. It only lasted on and off for like a week or two. So, you know, I can tell you that it was, it only lasted a short period of time, but it damn well hurt, let me just tell you. So yeah, just one thing to be warned about. So another pretty recent change that's actually been a little bit painful is I've also had a lot of hip pain recently. I did look into it a little bit as well. I'm always researching message boards. It appears that it can potentially come from some changes in the muscles and tendons. I don't know if that's the case or if I'm just having hip pain, but it could all be in my head, but, you know, who knows. I also seem to have noticed a few subtle changes as far as my face. I do believe that my cheeks seem to be getting a little bit more full and not quite so, I don't know. It doesn't look like I'm doing fish face all the time. And again, all of that could be in my head. I have absolutely no clue. I don't know that I've really had any major skin changes. Perhaps it's a little bit softer, but I really couldn't say. I don't know. The problem with when you're transitioning is you see a lot of things that maybe you want to see and you have no clue if it's really there or not. So I really couldn't say whether or not I've seen those changes, but they seem to be happening. So yeah. While we're talking about the things in my head, you know, let's talk about a little bit about some of the psychological changes and some of the emotional changes. So just a little over a week ago, my doctor increased my estrogen dosage, which I was kind of excited about. I was hoping that would happen. And I really can't say that I've had, since I've been on estrogen, any of those overly emotional type of moments. I think a lot of that's probably a myth. Maybe some people experience it, but I haven't. What I do feel like is I feel like I have more of a connection to the full range of emotions. You know, I used to complain about feeling so numb to everything, and now I feel like that's more available at my fingertips now. That emotions are more something that I can tap into. And that may be related to the HRT, but I think it also has a lot to do with, you know, when you live in the closet and you can't even accept yourself, it's really hard to connect with anyone else. And I think I'm finding more as I've accepted me and I'm living my own life and my own truth, that it's easier for me to connect on an emotional level on any number of things. Okay, so that's pretty much the end of the video. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If there's something that I forgot to talk about or something that you have a question about, you know, leave it in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer. Give me ideas for what you want to see in upcoming videos. You know, I'm trying to figure out what to do on all of these videos. Obviously, the HRT videos are pretty easy. You know, I want other ideas. I want to know what you're interested in. So, yeah, leave me questions. Please do not forget to click the subscribe button if you're watching the video. I do try to put out new videos every week. Sometimes I miss a week. I'm sorry, but I'm trying to be more dependable. So, yeah, click subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, leave a comment. So, you know, all in all, I just want to thank you guys for watching. I appreciate every view that I get. And then let me leave with my little quote from Kesha, you know, don't let the bastards get you down. You know, not to sound too cliche, but the people that hate you, they're going to hate you regardless of what you do. So you might as well enjoy life by being authentically who you are. You know, stop worrying about what everyone else thinks, and you just do you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I did get a cute new outfit, so I might do a little quick snippet of it before I actually cut the video out. The very first time that I bought any type of dress ever. So pretty excited about it. But anyway, I'll leave it here. Click subscribe, and at the end of this, there'll be a short little photo montage showing the transition so far. Thanks. Yeah, so for better or worse, this was my first foray into actually buying a skirt. It's above the knee, so I'm a little bit uncomfortable with that. I won't be wearing it out in public for a very long time anyway. But yeah, I kind of like it. I think it's cute. I think these bangles are cute too, but God, they're noisy. But anyway, that's pretty much it. So click subscribe. Bye-bye.